The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNCNow.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, hello and welcome to the new channel. We're here not only to help you see the new you, but to be the new you. I'm Michelle Mras, live streaming from the beautiful mountains of Colorado, USA, and you're watching season 3, episode 42 of Mental Shift. Well, good evening to the United States and to the Philippines. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. My guest tonight is a Renaissance man, a humanitarian, and a serial entrepreneur. He is a social proof celebrity event photographer, and that's how I met him, international keynote speaker, and author of 40 books, but I think it's 40 plus books. Honored as America's most influential business connector and entrepreneur of the year, his focus is supporting causes and nonprofits to amplifying leaders who lead with their heart. Right up my alley. His radio show Amplified on Voice America Influence Channel is a platform he uses to discuss building community, fatherhood, leadership, and success principles and values. And the loss of his mother to Alzheimer's complications ignited his desires to live a life of purpose, where he leaves a legacy of love for his son to model. That's one of the reasons why I asked him to come on the Mental Shift with us today, because I want to hear more of his story of what makes him the special human that he is. He is also the co-founder of the nonprofit organization, the KeepSmilingMovement.com, and he has published over 200 books of leaders. I'm going to be one of them. The movement shares these books with everyone needing a dose of hope. So please welcome my new and dear friend, Ken Rochon Jr., aka Dr. Smiley. Where are you?
I'm right here. I am right here. The yellow has attracted me to the show.
like a moth to a flame, right?
Exactly. What a beautiful intro. I love that intro you did. Or
Thank
they did, or you guys did together. Beautiful.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah, great energy. It definitely sets the tone for the type of show you want to have. So that's beautiful.
Yes. And now you know why I wanted you on my show. Not only do I think you're awesome, but your story of giving back and lifting others and why you do what you do. I mean, here on Mental Shift, we talk about basically people who have gone from one point in their life, had something major happen or something in their life that happened that made their mind shift to something else. And then they started doing something different from what they used to do. So with you, your mother having Alzheimer's complications, if you're willing to share that story of what did you do before, what aha moment came out of that horrible experience that you went through with your mom, and then why you're giving back the way you give back now, because that event sent a fire in you that you've magnified, domino affected across the world, really. So please share, what did you do before?
Well, I was a DJ for some 30 plus years, no counting, of course. Lots of weddings, over I think 2,500 weddings. And when I found out my mom had dementia, I I couldn't believe it. First of all, I mean, there's a denial period where you can't believe someone in your family has it, because that's not a good sign for your family tree either.
Oh
um,
yeah.
Especially when they're young. My mom was diagnosed at 61.
Uh-huh.
And she had stage 4 dementia, which just means that it accelerates the rate at which she is not with us mentally. And within 3 years, she was unable to even remember anything. So, what was so amazing about it, Michelle, was that one of my favorite movies before my mom had dementia was The Notebook.
Oh,
And I mean, what a great story, what a great romance, and also what great acting. And James Garner, one of my favorite actors, played the part that my dad technically is. So they met when they were kids. Well, my mom and dad met when they were kids, and they never really knew anyone else. So they were the real deal as far as living a life all the way with their vows to the end. My dad went to Vietnam, and although my dad probably did not understand the entrepreneurial spirit or the ADHD undiagnosed I had and all the other lovely things I brought to the family, he was a super good dad and a super good husband. And he decided to take a sabbatical from NSA, National Security Agency, to be a caregiver for my mom. And I admired that commitment. I admired the fact that he was willing to do anything he could to give my mom the best care she deserved. And he actually said, I'm not going to turn her over to anyone else because I can give her better care than anybody. So I decided that that would be an opportunity for me to support my dad and also to be there for my mom, because she was always there for me. So she was my biggest cheerleader. And in being my biggest cheerleader, I really reflected on life during that 3-year period. And there were some things that came to fruition in my mind, that I had just been doing what I wanted to do in life, but not necessarily making a difference. So I thought, a purpose-driven life is the first thing I'm going to choose when my mom is not able to be with us anymore. The second thing I chose was that I would have to write a book and create a legacy, because my mom, along with all these other people I love, left this planet without leaving their legacy. And so that became a very important facet of my mission, is that I would amplify the goodness of leaders, and I would encourage them to create a legacy that they could leave behind, so that any day something bad happens to them, the loved ones at least know their story. The loved ones at least know who they are to them and the world. So within 13 months of my mom passing, my first book came out, and I actually have it. Yeah, it's right here. And I brought some books with me, and here's a rule I have about being on shows. If I show a book, it's free. So if anyone connects with you or me, I'll send you the books, Michelle. So if they connect with you, you can give it. But this is the book. It is Becoming the Perfect Networker,
ah,
Succeeding One Connection at a Time. And if you notice, there's the lovely 100 books, almost 100 books sold in the top right hand corner. And I did that because I hadn't sold any books ever in my life. And I decided, if I'm going to be truthful about it, this book is a new book, a new idea. And it was about how so many people exchange a business card, or they go to a networking event, and they don't actually take it beyond that. There's not a contribution. So I read a book by Bob Burg called The Go-Giver, and I
yeah.
decided for 1 year that I would not focus on me, and I'd focus on whoever that card belonged to, what I could do to change their life, support them, leave their life better than they were before they met me. And what a karma effect and a shift that was for me. So talk about mental shift. If you go to networking events and you care about other people knowing who you are, you will never be heard.
Mhm.
And if you can shift into who they are and not care about you, you will actually have them hear you better than you'd ever want to be heard. Because a friend of mine once said, if you ever want to get someone's attention, put money in their bank. And I love that statement, because it means that you contributed to their life. You solved a problem. You helped them understand that out of all the people they know, you care about contributing. So I would find 3 people, and I would make sure I made a difference in their life. And it could be by connecting them to somebody. It could be by recommending a book. It could be by actually giving them a referral. But whatever it was, I made sure I did 3. And that changed the business card stacks into the relationship matters. And that was a big game changer for me, because the book caused me to be the perfect networker. It's called the perfect networker. And I don't know if I was perfect before, and I don't think I am now, but I will say it causes you to step to a standard where you would be considered that. And Michelle, you saw how much fun I had at Christoph's event, networking. It's my favorite thing, because when you get to know people, you get to know how you can support them, hopefully change their life, and most importantly, go on the ride of success with them. And it's so interesting you have the mental shift, because most of my books behind me are called Keep Smiling, Shift Happens. And so shift is a very big word for me. So when I see mental shift, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're moving from an area that does not serve you to an area that serves not just you, but the world. And so I am excited that when I became a father, that I understood that principle. And mental shift is also about shifting into patience. It's shifting into gratitude, shifting into contribution, shifting into service, shifting into purpose, shifting into integrity, shifting into
Higher
responsibility.
levels, yeah.
Yes, all higher
Higher,
levels. And
yeah.
so I'm so excited to be on this show, because this is exactly the type of stand the Keep Smiling movement's about.
Yes, and I like to say it's about shifting into the hierarchy, the Hicks model of emotional intelligence. You're
Yes.
shifting to another level. And that's why we click so well as your Dr. Smiley. And most people remember me because of my smile. It's like, oh, you're the gal with the smile. Yeah, that's me.
Well, the other thing about your smile is it shows up in the tonality of your voice. You have a very chipper, high energy voice, and it makes people feel very comfortable. It makes people feel like they're attracted to that positivity. So I knew when I saw you at that event that you would be a contender, if not the winner. And sure enough, you were a winner at the ultimate speaker competition. And I will say that was the most beautiful community that Christoph assembled. And there are so many friendships that exist because he did it the right way. Talk about a shift. He shifted how you come to the stage to serve.
And it's a beautiful thing. And I was so glad to be part of that community because one, I got to meet you, but two, I got to be part of such a synergistic group of people that were there to give. And that's really my quest in life. And that's why I keep, I have mental shift and I have denim and pearls, business casual with pearls of wisdom. It's all about bringing people together with that mindset of making individuals better at themselves, being the best version of themselves, so we can all raise up to a whole nother level together. And you're doing the same thing. You've got your Smile campaign, right? Tell us a little bit about your Smile campaign because I love it. And more about what you do for entrepreneurs because yes, you publish books. Yes, you have your own books. Yes, you do photography, and you've got a lot of hands and a lot of irons in fires. That's what I'm after. But they're all for the same. There's a uniting,
Yes, there's a
uniting
connection.
purpose. So please explain the Smile campaign.
I will, but I do want to make one more statement about my mom.
Oh, please.
The other statement I want to make about her is that when you step into fatherhood, motherhood, and you are a stand for your son or daughter to be a success, you're a stand for their happiness, that one person can change how responsible you take your life. And it's very interesting. At the age of 39, I had not created a purpose-driven life, but she awakened that. And it's sad that her passing caused me to be awakened that life is precious, that life is not forever. And I thought about it and I said, this is the gift she's given me. Take it seriously. And since she was a woman, I decided my tribute would be to her as a woman and to women that are a stand for making a difference in the world. So that was my first decision. And the women that allowed me to show my skill set, which is to create social proof, to create photography, to create viral campaigns, were women conferences. And so within 6 months, Michelle, of doing this dream, I had never been in the White House before, but I was in the White House 3 times in the 6 months I did this as a result of the stand I was being for women. And it goes to show you that when you are able to step into who you can be for others, others become who you can be for your power. And that was a really big awakening for me, is that everything just got better in my life because I was serving others. That's a big shift, mental shift from where I was. I was a workaholic. I was very self-absorbed. I wasn't purposely this way, but I was a bachelor. I was all these things that really was, I'd say, a materialistic, just not really in gratitude, and just think I have to do more and be more and have more. And it wasn't really at all the answer, because when I was sitting with my dad and I made a decision for 3 years to take a hiatus from my company, I was able to be with my dad morning, afternoon, and night. And that is a lot of breakdown. There's a lot of breakdown during that period. And I was able to see what really matters in life. And, the pandemic was a second awakening. And I
Yes.
was not Dr. Smiley before the pandemic, but I certainly was at the end of it, because, well, it's not the end, but in November, I finished my PhD, and I did that as a result of a mental shift. How do you actually take something that is potentially looking bad and turn it into a gift? And the gift was my Renaissance. I created A Dose of Hope. I created 5 books with my son. I had the best experience of my life as a father. All these things came out of a pandemic, yet it could have been the worst period because I had 400 events cancel. So you asked a question about the Keep Smiling movement, and that is the next, I guess, thing I'll share. There's a gentleman named Barry Shore, and he handed me, and I can't believe I don't have any cards handy. I can show you what a card looks like, but I don't have any cards handy. But well, here's John Asraf, and he's holding one of the cards.
Yes.
So the people that hold these cards, we're giving the card to someone, just as Barry Shore gave me a card to remind me to shift into joy. Keep smiling is not start smiling. It's the insinuation of keep being joy. Mm-hmm. And when he gave me that card, it actually stopped me like a white light, like the Blues Brothers. You ever see the Blues Brothers?
Yes, of course.
So when Jake
I see the light.
I see the light. So it was not quite that experience, but it was exactly that experience in my heart and in my soul. It was definitely that experience, because I stopped. I could not move. And for 45 minutes, I just wanted to be in the aura of this gentleman, Barry Shore, who was like a prophet to me, a Jewish man of probably 65, I guess, when I met him. And I asked him, why do you give the card away? And he says, I give the card away to remind people to smile, to remind people there's joy, to remind people they are joy. And I said, I love it. Tell me more. Do you take pictures of people? And he says, no. I said, do you have a website? He says, no. I mean, you can get cards at the website, but I don't have a website for anything beyond that. And I said, do you do social proof? Do you publish this? Anything? He says, no. And I thought, these are the no's I needed to hear for God to say, this is who you're going to anchor to, and you're going to create something magical called a movement. And I said, I could create a movement out of this. And he was receptive. I called him up about 3 days later, and I said, I would like you to print these cards with a website in the back so people can find the cards. And he said, sure, like that. And he says, how many cards would you like? And I said, I don't know. And he says, how about 20,000? I said, more than that. And he said, no, he started with 10,000. He went to 20. And finally at 40,000, he gave up. And he says, how many do you want? And I said, I would like 100,000 cards. And he said yes, without a pause. Now, the reason I asked for 100,000 was at least 2 reasons. One reason was to see if he'd flinch, and he didn't. The number 2 reason was, when you ask for 100,000 cards, just like when you write a book, you become committed to that number of making sure that many are going to be handed out. And I was comfortable with 100,000 cards being handed out. And the third reason was, I just wanted to see what 100,000 cards look like. I mean, that's 42 big boxes of cards being sent to my UPS store. They actually called me and they said, you need to get these out of this. It's taking up way too much room. So it's 42 big boxes of cards. And we went through that, and we've gone through more. And at this point, I think we're at 2.5 million people have received one of these cards. And here's what happens, Michelle, every single time. I already know you know what happens, but I want the audience to know. Okay. When you receive this card, you light up. It's just that simple. You light up because you see the smile, and it reminds you that is what you are able to be in the world. So during the break, I'll probably run upstairs and get some smile cards, but we have them in 36 languages. Tell me Philippines language.
Multiple. Tagalog would be the first.
Tagalog is the one we have. And if you Google Keep Smiling with any language, you'll see it come up, and you can go to the Daily Smile, which is Barry Shore's site, and you can order the cards for free. You just pay for postage to get the cards sent to you.
Say that slower.
TheDailySmile.com.
DailySmile.com, and you can put it in any language, and it will pop up.
It'll pop up on Google, but if you go to the Daily Smile, you can order the cards. You can just pick the languages you want.
DailySmile.com.
Yes,
I'm saying that because the back office will print it. I mean, they'll type it up and put it in.
and then if you go to the Keep Smiling movement, which is the one that is the nonprofit site, the 501c, and you ask for anything, we will direct you and we'll make sure you get those cards as well. So either one of those sites is fine.
Well, I
And
want to say thank you to people who joined us live, and they're all commenting. So we've got Sally Worth saying, great to see and hear you as well, Ken. Helene says, Michelle, where's my purple pen? Huh? Apple says, good morning. Denim and Pearls, my partner, Brian, is saying great words because he is like you. He was he's a DJ again, but he was a DJ, and then he became a huge networker here in Colorado and ran all the big networking meetings. And that's why I partnered with him, because he is so good at networking. Just like with you, I'm like, I need to latch onto you because you know marketing, you know networking.
is he going to be at the event?
He will be at the Denim and Pearls event, and he better be at the book launch for Hold My Crown on October 24th. But I don't know if he'll be at the Ultimate Speaker one. No,
I'm talking about the one on the 20th. Is it the 19th or 19th that we are creating?
Oh,
remember Aaron Bear?
yes, I didn't ask him. So I will ask him.
Well, we are allowing up to 100 people to be at that event. And if you come to the event, you meet the top 100 people in Colorado based on them actually knowing about it. So you meet the top people, and they go into a book, and the book is called.
Oh, so we have to get him to come.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, he's a professional network. He's a DJ. He's my kind of people.
Oh, he's not just a DJ. He does a little bit of everything. He's my kind of people too, which is why,
Awesome.
yeah, he's like you. It's like, oh, I do that. Yeah, I do that too. Yeah, you're like, what do you not do, man? Same with you. When I met you, so yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. I'm like, wait a minute, you do everything, because we're serial entrepreneurs. Now, Helene and Cholita says hello, and she's saying hi from Tarlac. I know that place in the Philippines, and I can't see past my microphone, so I'll stop now. But thank you so much. Now, I know I interrupted you. The other thing I wanted to say is, like, your experience with your mother and her Alzheimer's. My aha, my waking up to, I'm wasting my life, I need to be more intentional, was the passing of my mother-in-law. That's why I wrote my first book, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. Mary as an Mary, because that's her name. I love how she dealt with life and how she enjoyed and how she lifted people. She was a teacher. And what really got me about her was when she was diagnosed with leukemia, how she dealt with that and how brave she was. And I remember saying, if I'm ever brave, if I'm ever put in that spot, I want to be brave like her. Now, I'm talking about this after my brain injury, saying I'm brave like her because I'm going to get through this brain injury. I'm going to get back up. And then when I found out I was diagnosed with breast cancer, her words became even more powerful. And I'm like, okay, I must truly be more intentional. And now I need to wake other people up from this not living a real life and not giving back and not living in joy while I still have time. And so that's where I get my whole be the best version of you, be unapologetic, go find your dream, go find who you are, like you are. That's why I connected so well to you. We both have a driving force of someone we love so much leaving that made us realize, oh, there's more to life than just living.
Right.
There's more.
Speaking of that gentleman, what's the gentleman's name you said that DJ and so much more? What's his name?
Oh, my podcast partner, Brian Swanson.
Okay, so Brian, I'm going to say this to Brian and about Brian. So, when you say, he says, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. So, what do you say to a polyglot that knows 15 languages? They can only know one because only one is, it doesn't make sense that you can only know one thing if you want to practice more things. For every 10,000 hours you pour into something, you become a bit of a master at that. And it's interesting, but if someone can cook great certain dishes, it's because they focused on those dishes. Yes. But if they focused on other dishes, they'd be able to cook so many more dishes. And if you say, oh, I can cook Thai and I can cook Indian, but I cannot cook Italian, it's because you haven't spent the time learning Italian. And so if you have the gift of cooking or you have the gift of art or creativity, you're probably going to be fine at anything if you have the passion to continue to master it. And mastering is really simply time.
It's practice, yeah. Because like with Brian, I laugh about it because he's done so many things. I mean, in the military, I think he had engineering, and then he liked to dabble in cars, but he loves music. So if you ever have a conversation, the two of you will have fun because he's quoting music all the time. And
Is he?
so, yeah, he always quotes music. Has to keep me on my toes. And so that's really, it's because he's done so many things that he acquired more knowledge, just like you, just like me, that I call him the fix it man. He could fix anything. Why? Because he looks at it as a mechanism, and he's like, okay, this person's having this problem. Well, let's figure out where it started. It's just like a car system in his mind. It's
Mhm.
all electric, all components. And so I like how his brain works. And yeah, you guys are going to get along really well.
Well, it's kind of a problem-solving mentality.
Mhm.
And, Da Vinci was really someone that I admired at age 6, believe it or not. I could not believe that he was so fascinated with science and art and that he had left and right brain uh, tactility and skill set. It just blew me away. And I said, I want to be like him at age 6. And so I drew and I illustrated all the time, and I love science. And I went to college and got physics and chemistry as a certification, taught it. But in the back, I was always thinking I want to create. And when my mom passed, I decided to go buy cameras and create.
Great. Yeah.
And I don't know honestly how a camera works, but what I do know is what a camera can do when you spend time with it.
Yes. And you're very, very good with that camera. He has taken over 111 pictures of me at one event. And I don't think I was wearing yellow at any of those pictures, so maybe I should do that next time.
Yeah, I was going to say that light that you have. See, I'm not normally on shows this late, and so I have this kind of, I guess, Halloween and nightmare kind of thing coming on, and so next month is October. But during the daytime, I have all this beautiful, soft sunlight coming in, so it's quite a different lighting experience I'm having over here. If I'd worn yellow, I think the sun would have come out maybe again. I don't know.
You do in the middle of the day, in the dark of the night, start saying horror movies. But no,
What lighting are you using? I'm curious.
I'm using a ring light.
That's it?
Mhm.
That's beautiful. And I
Because
have a ring light. It's at my studio. I should have brought it home tonight.
You should have, because normally I have light from my window.
Yeah, so do I.
Gives me perfect lighting in the daytime. But at night I had to get a ring light so that I.
Well, next time I do a nighttime event, I'm doing ring light and I'm going to wear yellow. I'm definitely doing those two things.
Thank you very much. No, I just light like this. There's no other light in the room now. Of course, it's a ring light.
Well,
And
I'm
I
excited about your book, Michelle. I just want to
hold
say
my
that,
crown.
yes, very much so. And I'm excited that I get to work with you. And I'm also excited that that event showed me your heart at a level I don't see many speakers actually show it. There was at that event, ladies and gentlemen, there was a community, and that community experienced something together that was pretty amazing. It stopped the event, and I do 200 events, sometimes even 300 events a year. I don't see events stop. They actually had to stop. It was an emotional pause, and I think that emotional pause, correct me if I'm wrong, was well over 20 minutes.
I don't remember. I was too busy crying.
Well, do you remember how many pictures I took that I did not include that 111 that were just pictures of you being embraced by all the people there? And
Yes.
there were 21 speakers, and you had quite a few of them need to connect with you. And that is actually not just a big compliment to you, but that is actually what you want to achieve in life as a leader.
Yes.
75% of people say they don't know what they're doing or why they're doing what they're doing. And I'm doing this Keep Smiling to awaken people that it's a choice. And we have this new question we ask because of Dose of Hope. And I do have that book handy, and anyone that would like a copy of that can see me. But DOSE stands for, let me do this right. Is that right? DOSE.
Right there.
Got there.
DOSE. There it is.
Yeah. So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, those are God's gift to you, that your chemicals in your brain are reminding you you're alive, you're excited, you anticipate winning, you're loving life. And when you have that happening, your soul's awaken and hope comes into play. And I think it's been quite the experience that in December, when I was given an eviction notice that my studio of 35 years is going to go bye-bye, because I had 400 events canceled last year, Michelle. And had that not happened, I wouldn't have prayed. And this solution of a dose of hope came into play, and it changed my life. It made Christmas happen. It made the eviction situation go bye-bye, everything. And when I took that leap of faith to take a project called Hope into the world, it actually provided me hope, just like I was talking about earlier with the perfect networker. When I chose to become the perfect networker, it changed how I behaved with people, because it wasn't about behaving for me anymore. It was behaving to see how I could make a difference for them. So this hope has been interesting, because there are people obviously that say, I don't know if I have an inspirational story. And I want to spend a second with that, because that was big for me. That was very big, to have that awakening that there could be 7, 8, and possibly even 9 out of 10 people say, I don't know if I have an inspiring story. And what I want to awaken is that it's a choice. That is the ultimate mental shift. I think the ultimate mental shift is to know that you can be inspiring.
You
And
matter.
Yep, you matter, but not just that you matter, but that you matter so much that you inspire others to greatness.
Well, you know,
And
that's why I'm a speaker coach, right?
I do know, and I do know that, Michelle, very well. And I have really been this is my ultimate calling and message at this point, is a dose of hope. It's a dose of hope for people that don't know that no matter how bad they have it, there are people that have stories in this dose of hope book that I wouldn't trade their story for that story. I mean, William Paul Young, who wrote The Shack, I will not give out the story, but it's in there. And he had a very rough childhood. Frank Shankowitz, who created Make-A-Wish Foundation, extremely rough childhood. And those stories are in Dose of Hope. Those are the type of people that are in this book. And I ask them who inspires them, and they tell me. And it's a climbing ladder of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know if you're right with the right people, ask them who inspires them and start moving up to these conversations. I'm very excited that this is a TED Talk in the making, because it is the ultimate chicken soup meets TED Talk type of conversation. How did you create who you are? Because you are a creation, and you are a creation of you choosing to be you. How you act, how you think, how much money you have, how much abundance you have, how much positivity you have, it's all you being created. And from there, it is your why, which is the more powerful your who is, the more powerful your why, your purpose can be, and then the more empowered your how and your impact can be in the world. And that is what this story is about. Each story is 2,000 words. Michelle, you're in the next printing, and I'm so excited. I turned them in, so we should be going to press in about. You'll have them by the Ultimate Speaker Competition in Colorado Springs.
So we'll have that book and the Hold My Crown Women of Grit share their stories of resilience. Same
Yes.
time.
And even possibly Aaron Bears, because if we have 50 powerful, badass women, and by the way, we have never associated ourselves with a cuss word. And I have to say that Aaron Bear speaks of badass from a standpoint of owning the fact that you cannot be beaten down, that you can be a powerful person and you can make a positive difference in the world. So we have embraced that message, and we are excited to be creating that for her.
Yeah. So if you haven't figured it out yet, Mr. Smiley here, Dr. Smiley here is can I announce that?
I would love it. I'll even have a
publisher.
Well, I even have a book that would be, I think, a great gift to people too. I keep messing up on this, but it's Make a Book, Move a Book, Book a Sale. And Mr. Proctor is the person who actually wrote here
Bob
3 steps.
Proctor?
Yeah, Bob Proctor.
Wow.
3 steps, make, move, money. Could it be any easier? So I don't know if you know the numbers in this, but I've studied this pretty extensively, because when I decided to finally do my book.
Wait, Ken, hold that thought. Yes. Wait, you have to hold that thought.
I'll hold it.
You know what I forgot to do?
Do it.
I forgot our station break.
I was wondering when that was going to happen.
Yeah, I forgot. So hold that thought. Don't forget. When we come back, Ken will continue his story about, Bob Proctor and all of what's about to happen. So stay tuned. Please share this live stream right now with a friend, because Dr. Smiley is a pretty cool dude, isn't he? So please share the live stream, and we'll be right back after this commercial. So TNC is a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. We invite you to watch all our shows as seen on our... Hello, my name is Michelle Mras, and you are watching Mental Shift. And as I was saying earlier, we aim here at TNC to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. And as you see on the screen, our mission is to become a community where passionate people accept each other, share inspiration, and promote positive transformation. Our vision is to be a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Philippine talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. So, of course, please don't forget to watch and support my show, Mental Shift. We are here where we talk about experiences and we encourage each other to be unapologetic about who we are and be the best version of ourselves through whatever adversity we may have gone through or are going through. My show is every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time in the United States, and in Wednesdays mornings at 10:30 in the morning, I said morning twice, in Manila. If you missed an episode, you can always go back and watch a replay. So if you would like to have your show, or if you'd like to be a sponsor for my show, please contact our channel through private messaging here on Facebook or YouTube. And for more upcoming shows, follow the hashtag TNCNow on Facebook, YouTube, and other social media platforms, and enjoy our life-changing shows because we made them truly for you. And we're back. There we are. Well, tonight, my friend and my guest tonight is Dr. Smiley. His name is Ken Rochon Jr., and he is a serial entrepreneur. He does photography, and he's a publisher, and he just does all sorts of amazing things. But it's all about giving back and lifting people and spreading joy and raising up the entire world around him, basically. So please welcome back Dr. Smiley.
Well, thank you. And that kind of is the mantra of Gandhi. It's short. It's been, I guess, abbreviated to be the change you want to see in the world. Mm-hmm. It's much longer than that, but it's a very powerful statement. And if you see a problem in the world, be that change. And exactly. It will give you purpose. It'll give you a reason to live. It'll even possibly give you your calling, which is what I think it did for me. So on the back of all our cards, we amplify goodness. So it's a pretty simple motto. If you see goodness, amplify it. And the amplification is a very interesting word because it is, when it's truly being done, it's amplifying something louder without distortion.
Well, Helene wrote first. Thank you, Ken Rochon Jr., for all you're doing in your life. I want to say I appreciate you for all you do. And then Sally agrees and said, this is a wonderful interview and truly inspiring. And it's wonderful to be able to hear, well, Sally said it too. She enjoy learning more about the Ken behind the Ken, because you are so authentically you, but you can feel through the emotion that you emote. You are so real. It's like, where's that coming from? And to learn where you had your mental shift with your mother and your experience with your mother, and then through COVID, being able to be with your father and truly connect with a whole nother mental shift and appreciating life. And now to have a son that you are giving back fully and raising. So, I mean, he's a smart little boy. He's written how many books now?
5. And what's amazing is March of last year, he had written 0. So on his birthday, June 14th, which is Flag Day here in the good old USA, he did his very first book. It was called Kenny's Favorite Jokes, and we followed it up with Kenny's Favorite Riddles. And he was coming out of his shell. He was a very introverted, shy, I would say almost embarrassed kid to be photographed, videotaped. He didn't like his voice. And all this said, when we did the joke book, it's not that he did a complete mental shift like that, but he did it pretty quickly. I said, Kenny, you did a book and people want to hear the jokes. And he goes, they do? I said, yes, there's going to be podcasters that are going to ask for you to tell a joke out of your book. And he says, okay. And he did his first joke and it went over really, really well. And you want to hear what the first joke was?
Please.
Okay. What did the daddy Buffalo say to his son when he was leaving for school?
Not a clue.
Bye, son. And it did so well. I said, hey, Kenny, you can't tell that joke every single time, because the next 3 or 4 podcasts he told that because it was such a big hit. But he became a ham. And in becoming a ham, I saw what a joke book can do for a kid. But we decided to make these joke books so they were templated. So you can actually have your child's name in the title. So instead of Kenny's favorite jokes, it can be Michelle's favorite jokes, and it can be a
Oh,
character of you on the front cover instead of Kenny. The rest of the book is pretty much the same, except for the acknowledgments, which is very important. I taught Kenny that acknowledgments are letting the people know that who love you, support you, that this is your way of thanking them. And then the back is just about the author. So there's really only 3 pages or 4 that have to be modified for a template shift. But we decided to do Kenny's favorite jokes, Kenny's favorite riddles, Kenny's favorite science facts, which, when you teach 8th grade science and you have a 3-year-old, guess what you teach them? 8th grade science. So I taught him 8th grade science from the age of 3, and he is very proficient with the periodic table. He knows that Mendeleev designed the periodic table. He understands where the atomic numbers are, why they're grouped the way they are, what the chemicals do in the world. But it's because of the language, and
yes.
people think he's so brilliant. But the point is, I think everyone's brilliant if you actually spend the time learning things.
Well, or talking to them.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
my children were always so off the chart because I talk to them with whatever I happen to be doing. And most of the time through their adolescence, I was working on my master's degree. So I'm like, well, I'm working on my quality systems management and things like that. So I'm talking to them about, about the process that I'm doing here, Dad. They were picking it all up.
Right.
And so I
Of course.
think it's funny that people are sponges when you allow them to be.
Yeah, his
Wait a
vocabulary is
minute.
immense.
I just noticed something in the thread here. You know Tamara L. Hunter?
I do. She's awesome.
She is. She's one of my
amazing.
chemo buddies.
Is she?
Yeah, her
Yeah.
and Helene Wilson are my chemo buddies.
Well, they are. I met Tamara. I want her to do a dose of hope. I think she maybe has submitted a chapter, but I don't know if it's officially made it through. We're looking for 500 authors that have inspiring stories, and she is one of my favorites. I mean, she is a gift. She is positive. She has obviously proven that hope and positivity can prevail. She's a champion warrior. So I love her. I was going to tell you at the break, and you told me not to forget, so I didn't forget, by the way.
Good.
So this book, anytime I hold a book, you're able to get it for free. You just get it from Michelle or myself as an ebook. But make a book, move a book, book a sale. So do you know why most books do not fail? Do not make it? They fail. Do you know why?
Because you make a book and don't do anything else with it.
Well, first of all, you barely make the book. So you put all your resources into making the book. And believe it or not, out of 85 people that say they want to do a book out of 100, only about 1 or 2 do it. It's a very small percentage.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the 1 or 2 that do it, if you take all the 100 that did it, only about, again, 1 or 2 actually do the book where they actually sell it. Because I don't count anyone selling 40 books or under to their family, their uncles, aunts, and the ones that aren't going to buy ever read it. I don't count that as really selling books. I call that as a donation. So there's a big problem in the mentality, the mental shift on what a book is for. A book is for you to birth and to raise into the world so it has impact as a child would. And when you understand that food is marketing dollars and that 90% of your budget should go into marketing dollars, you will end up on stages. You will end up with multiple books. You will end up with having impact in the world. You'll have books that weren't supposed to make it have the Malcolm Gladwell tipping point effect, and they will actually show up. So every one of my books gets reprinted, every one of them. And I don't know if I do have 40. I'm pretty close to 40 books. If you count the dual books I did with my son, I'm probably at 40. But
yes, I'm counting them too.
and here's a fun little book. It's called Powerful Quotes for Speakers and Leaders. And since I held it up, you can get that for free. But I want to make sure that people understand that when you make a book and you launch the book, that's the beginning, not the end. So many people think that the Amazon bestseller and getting the book printed and hoorah, the world was waiting for this book. It's not even close to anybody can do a book and anybody can launch a book.
There's more.
Exactly. So moving a book is actually not the goal either. The goal is actually to have impact with the book, and the impact is the sale. The sale is either that they have more followers. The sale is that they do your courses. The sale is that you're on stages. The sale is whatever that book business card is supposed to do to get you where you want to go, but get your audience and your target market of readers where they need to go.
Yes.
And when you write what the reader will get out of the book, and you don't make this an ego thing, you will see a shift, just like I said about the business cards. Don't take business cards you're not willing to serve who they are. Make a book that you can give away. If you can give a book away, it's probably going to be the gift that they gave you their time to read it. That's
Yes.
the amazing thing. If they will actually, I always give books to speakers, and I do because if they read the book, they're probably going to be on my show. If they read the book, they might be a future client. If they read the book, and all these things that you were saying I do, they're connected to one thing. They're connected to actually impact. That's it.
Yes.
So if you take a picture of somebody and they are showing their soul, that's the impact you just captured that you helped them demonstrate with social media. And social proof is my very favorite topic in the entire world because it is the magic, again, of Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point of you saying you're important and not needing to say it anymore because the world takes the baton and says she's important or he's important.
We
You
need
don't
to
need
get you out here for our Denim and Pearls live event.
Well, I think you do because I would love that.
That's September 25th. It's coming
Is
up.
it? It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really soon.
Yeah. We'll have to talk offline on that one.
We will.
But our live event is that day.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, darn it. Have you fly out here again. Wait, you're already
Actually,
here. We can extend you.
I'd like to just share again, even though we mentioned his name earlier, Christoph Wyman. I want
Yes.
to mention his name again because this is a crazy soul that actually some 4 years ago said he'd do an event. He did it and he stuck with it. And he created one of the most magical events when we were at that event to experience it. And he is going to be a very big success with this ultimate speaker competition because he has learned a formula of how to attract the right people and teach them how they can be more effective on stage by having the coaching like a America's Got Talent, show people how they can actually shift mentally, spiritually, and connect to an audience at another level. And I share this with everyone because that event, if it was a dollar and cents thing, wouldn't make sense. But if you believe in somebody and you believe in their message, look at the rewards you're hearing on the show. And Christoph has a huge heart, but he is building an idea. And in building that idea, if you stand behind people that are building ideas, you get to go for a beautiful ride with them.
That's why he's coming to Colorado Springs.
Amen. Amen.
But it's been such a pleasure to have you on. And there's so much more I want to learn about you. I mean, we talked about your son and his books also. We've talked about your Smile book, The Dose of Hope.
Can we talk about birthdays?
Else?
Can we talk about birthdays real quick?
Sure.
So I have this new birthday book.
Birthday book. What is
and
this?
It's 365. What day is your birthday? I'm
October 17th.
October 17th. You're in one of these books. I don't know which one it is, so I'm just going to. This one has Gary Puckett and Union Gap. Remember the song "Young Girl, Get
Out of My Mind"?
That's you share his birthday.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. And then there is I know the new book that is the leader book. You're in that one. I just don't have it handy here, but you are in the new birthday book. And I pick one hero per day. So there's 365 heroes, and it reminds us to celebrate a day. When you wake up in the morning, it's not just that you're breathing. It's that you create your day. You create the fact that there was something that happened in history that changed America. There's something that changed the world. There's someone that was born that actually, because of their birth, their life changed the world. So I am very excited about my son being a game changer, so much so that when he was born, I gave him what I think is the biggest gift. You know, when you set up a college fund or you do all these other, I gave him a Facebook account at, I think it was 3 days into his life, and I called it Facebook.com/K3 game changer, because I wanted him to know if you can be a game changer in life, you control the game, you change the game to make it a beautiful game. And there's a book that I wrote, and I will read just a small bit of this. It's my journey of going to 100 countries. And I wrote this book at first when I only had done 33 countries. And I even said in my first chapter, I said, I am going to let you know, I intend to be at 100 countries. I've been doing this for 3 years. I'm at 33. When I got to 60, I think it was 66, ironically, I did second edition, and third edition I actually wrote, I made it. But I want to read this one little part here.
Please do.
So the back of the book is the reason someone buys your book. All right. So There we go. There's the reason someone buys your book, that first paragraph. Oops, there, the first paragraph. So I'm going to read it. My hope is to inspire you to connect with the world. Many of us, including myself, fall into a trap of believing we are only able to do so much with the money and time we have. It is a dangerous trap because it becomes our reality. The purpose of this book is to make life a game, and you win points the more you play. And that's the paragraph of, and this was something like my 6th book or 7th book, but every book I write, it's because I think of one sentence and I say that sentence will support the entire book. And for instance, when I wrote a book to my son, and that book was a father-son bond, every book I hold up, you can have, everybody can have this book. There's a page in here called death, and it's a horrible thing to talk about, death. But I write in this book, on this page, son, since death is part of life, one day I won't be here, and the most important gift I will leave behind are the words on these pages. I'm writing to you because I want you to always have my words. A wise man shared that with me, the way you really live life is to live it like it's your last year. And since you've had some life-threatening situations yourself, Michelle, you know how important celebrating a day is. You know how important celebrating life is. So that's what I'm doing every day. And the reason you hear my authenticity is because I want to find joy. I want to cause joy, but I want to inspire my son to know he has that gift. He has that gift to have that.
And that's why I share so much joy, because we never know whose last day is when.
Right.
So it's like, just be good. Just be happy. Find joy in every moment. And yeah. It's just,
Well, and my mom actually said, to circle back, if you look for the good in people, you will find it. And what's funny is most people that are critical and judging, they're looking for the bad, and they're looking for the wrong thing because they're actually finding it. And that's not serving them. It's not serving the person. But if you look for the good in people and you find it, you actually just got the gift of them.
well, and that's the whole thing, is where your mind goes, everything else flows. So if you
Exactly.
focus on negative, you will see negative. You focus on good, you will find the good. So focus on what you want to see, and you will see more of it. It's like, what is that? When you buy a car, you're like, oh, I want this car. No one else has this car. It's a white Honda. And then you drive off the lot, and suddenly everyone has a white Honda. It's
Well, that
because
was a popular one to pick, though.
it was.
That was a very popular one to pick.
But it's the same concept. You buy a blue shirt and suddenly everyone's got a blue shirt. It's whatever you're
You
focused
buy a
on
yellow
that
dress,
happens.
and
Buy
everyone.
a yellow Philippine top dress, and suddenly everyone's going to be wearing yellow.
Hey,
But
can I
it's
tell a
what you
joke from my
focus on.
son's joke book? He reminded me, he wrote
Please.
some original jokes. He wrote an original joke. He wrote 10, and we had to put them in the back of the book because they were really originals. So do you know why the man took a bath?
Why did the man take a bath?
Because he was a stinky poo. That is in Kenny's joke book.
Terribly funny.
It is. And he wrote it. He wrote that joke. That is his joke. He owns it. You can Google it. No one else has written that joke.
Oh my gosh. My son, his favorite joke when he was little was, what's the heaviest soup? He would always ask people that. What's the heaviest soup?
What is the heaviest soup?
Wonton. He'd say it all the time. I'm like, again.
That is great. Isn't it
But
great?
everyone was always surprised, because
Yep.
he's little, so it's like, oh, that was a good joke. Anyways,
That is cool.
So, Ken, Dr.
Michelle.
Smiley,
Yes.
I'm so glad we had this time together. We only have 5 more minutes. Is there something you'd like to share that we didn't cross over, that we didn't speak about? Because there is so much about you. You are so multifaceted. I'd love to have you back on and learn more about you in different facets, or as we grow together, as we collaborate to bring more in, because you're helping me with our next anthology book, Hold My Crown, Women of Grit Share Their Stories of Perseverance, of resilience. You're there. I'm part of your Smile book, right? The leader book.
Many times over, yes.
So what would you like to share? Because you're going to have to come back. There's just too much about you to learn in 1 hour.
Well, I will say a couple things. One is, your audience is powerful. They're listening to you because they want to be more powerful. And we have room in this crazy book, Dose of Hope. It's 800 pages. There's going to be 12 volumes of it. We only have 4 volumes so far. So if you feel your inspiring story belongs in this, contact Michelle. Have her connect you to me, and you will reach 10 million people. And you don't know how your story may impact someone to actually choose to not be depressed, not consider taking their life, and not considering being powerless or apologetic. And so I would like to invite you to be part of this beautiful project. And it is going to probably close in 2 or 3 months because tipping points happen in every single thing you put lots of time in. So we have 260 authors. We have room for maybe 240 more. And if you know somebody who's inspiring, this could change their life. It's valued at $36,000. There's no sale. This is simply, how do we impact humanity with a project? And
Just
the
be
beauty of
part of
this, the beauty of it is that your story could change someone's life.
Do you hear that? Your story can change someone else's life. It doesn't cost you a dime except for your time. I'm a
Which
poet.
is
Didn't
a
know it.
whopping 2 hours.
Yeah. So if you're interested and you want to be part of the book, or if you know someone you think would be a really good, a story that affected you, send me a message or write it in the chat and say, Michelle, or Ken, because he'll be tagged in this too, this person or me, or I'm interested in being part of this book. And what's the name of the book again, Ken?
It's called Dose of Hope, and dose stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins that are exploding in our brain when we're happy. But the most important thing about doing something like this is it'll ignite a flame in you to do more books, to be a bigger leader, to step on stages. It's a very big step into not being an author, into being an author, just like it's a big step to be not a mother and to be a mother. It changes a life when you become a legacy piece.
Now, the other thing I'd like to share, though, is Dose of Hope. It's also digital, right?
It's 10,000 page digital, and you can click on Michelle's chapter literally in a week, and you'll go right to her story.
Well, I'm saying that because overseas, a lot of people are going to do, well, I can't be part of it because I'm overseas. No, you can be part of it. You will be in the digital book also. You can still
Yes.
share that. So,
and Amazon delivers everywhere, so you can choose to buy the book or not. That's not the issue, but you will be part of the digital viral campaign of reaching 10 million people. And by the way, if we give it to everyone in the Philippines, I think we'll hit a lot more than 10 million.
yes, we would.
And just a reminder, music is the universal language. A smile is the universal expression. You never have to go anywhere in the world and not know that a smile means welcoming. I accept you. I love you. I'm excited to know more about you. It is such a beautiful expression.
And you just made me want to sing, right?
Do it. Are you going to do Nat King Cole Smile?
Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by. Right? If
That's
you
it.
smile, right?
One of the most beautiful.
You just smile.
Forever.
Forever.
And I'll close with this particular comment. If you're in a bad mood and you smile, you trick your brain because your brain says, why am I smiling? I must be happy. And so it causes you to be happy.
It hits that dopamine and all those other things. Yeah.
Yeah,
It gives
you
you
cannot
that
smile and be mad. You cannot smile. It's impossible.
And that's one of my jokes in my family is I'll say something angry. Get down here right now. And my kids are looking at me doing, you're smiling and you're angry. We don't get it. Eat this cake.
Give me a hug.
Give me a hug now. I love you. So thank you so much for joining us, Ken. I mean, Dr. Smiley, you are an amazing human, wonderful Renaissance man, and lovely father, because I've met your baby. I've met him. And I look forward to doing more work with you and to bring you back on the Mental Shift on TNC so that you can share more of your story as you grow and as we expand together, because we haven't seen the end of you and
No, we
us.
just got started.
Actually.
We just got started.
So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Ken, thank you again for joining us. Please share this stream, share the replay, and let your friends know. Ken's a pretty cool guy. And if they want to be part of this book, write down, say their name in the chat. This is Mental Shift. My name is Michelle Mras, and we are live on TNC every Tuesday night in the United States at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and every Wednesday morning in the Philippines at 10 a.m. I think it might be 10:30 a.m. So please join us next week. And for the weeks to come, we're at the end of season 3 next week. So make sure you join us, where my final guest is also from the Philippines. I met him at the John Maxwell Conference. Amazing photographer also. So please join us next week on Tuesday night in America and Wednesday morning in the Philippines. Until next time, my name is Michelle Mras, and you've been watching Mental Shift.